Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the Orns Friday Focus on Watford versus Norwich. A match on Saturday night under the lights at the Vic as the Hornets take on the Canaries in what is a very important game for Watford following their dismal performance in the second half against Blackpool and their loss before that a few days earlier against Swansea at the Vic. Now, Watford will have to put these last two games to bed very quickly when they take on Norwich tomorrow at the Vic, looking to bounce back after two consecutive losses in the Championship, Slaven Village. His first test now as Watford manager to right the ship at the moment as Watford look to get back in the win column. They have not won since the game at Stoke, which is two Sundays ago now. And Watford under the lights on Saturday night is a very good time. It's a very good time for the boys at the Vic to get the job done against a very tough Norwich side in second place at the moment. A win for Norwich could see them go top, and Watford could get back to within at least a point of the playoff places if they win this game tomorrow. Now, it seems as if Watford play Norwich at very important parts of the season. They did so earlier this calendar year, back in January, when Watford knew that a win could keep them away from the bottom three in the table. But of course, on that night, a Friday night game under the lights, Watford lost 3-0 at home to the Canaries on Graham Taylor night, no less, and ended up sinking into the bottom three in the table for the first time in the season in the Premier League last season, and they never recovered from that. Watford are going to try to get themselves back to the playoff zone area, at least within a point of the playoffs, and a win would get them in that possibility if they do so tomorrow. They will have some players back. João Pedro will definitely figure in the action tomorrow, as will Craig Cathcart. Mario Gaspar, a game time decision as far as fitness goes. Watford will or should play their 4-2-3-1 with Davis as the lone striker. I expect that that will happen. João Pedro, I think, will come off the bench coming off of this calf injury that has kept him out for almost a month. And I think that's what you'll see. I expect that Camara will start on his stronger left side, even if Mario Gaspar is not a go on game time. I expect what will happen is with Sierralta out and now Cabaselli out with an injury, and I have to apologize to Christian Cabaselli because the reason he backed off of the Blackpool player Hamilton last weekend was because he was injured. He pulled up with a hamstring, and that makes a lot of sense to me. You don't back off a defender when he's coming into your box, and the only reason why, and I mentioned this in the, I believe it was in the episode of the podcast I did, or it might have been in the video last week, that you have to have been injured to back off like that because it clearly would not make sense for Christian Cavaselli to back off and allow that cross to come in. And what happened was Cavaselli pulled a hamstring. That's what it has turned out to be. And as a result, he will be out now for a few weeks. So who knows what that defense is going to look like. Courtney House is out as well. As you know, he's been out for a few weeks now. So there is really a mash unit now at Vicarage Road with all of these defenders out. I expect that Matty Pollock will figure in this game. As far as I know, he's healthy. And since you've got Sierralta and you've got House and you've got Cabaselli out, who knows who will partner um, Christian, excuse me, who will partner Craig Cathcart now in that central defensive pairing. I guess William Truster Kong would have to be the man for that. We'll see if he is. He apparently shrugged off an injury, but we'll see if he comes in. It probably would have to be Cathcart and Truster Kong tomorrow. And I expect that you'll still have on the left side Camera on the right side, if not Pollock, which I guess is probably not going to happen. He's not really a right back. You'll probably see someone the likes of James Morris again. That's possible if Gaspar is not able to go. And I think pretty much everything else on the pitch will be as is for Watford. Ken Setman, I suppose, is going to be back. No news that he got injured, or that he hasn't recovered from any injury that he had. So I expect to see Setman back in the lineup, and Sarr will be back as well. He seemed to not had any injury issue. Keenan Davis as well, and Lakun Bio. I expect he will come off the bench as well. Bio, you might have Bio, and you might have João Pedro coming off the bench. I think in these games, Espria probably starts. We'll see if he does. So that's what the Watford lineup I think will look like with the lone striker again. And then Norwich, they have much the same players that they had 2 seasons ago in the Premier League, or excuse me, last season in the Premier League. Both of these clubs, of course, were relegated from the Premier League last season as well. And this is the second opponent now Watford will face this season so far, who they went down with last season. Obviously, it would just be the three teams: Watford, Burnley, and Norwich. Of course, Watford beat Burnley earlier this season. Watford against Norwich will be a very big game. And as I said earlier, this kind of fixture at Vicarage Road has been a big one for Watford, always at moments when Watford need to win games. Again, I talked about the one back in January of this year when Watford lost 3-0, and I'm going to now talk about the one from nearly 2 years ago on Boxing Day when Watford defeated Norwich City by a score of 1-0 in the first game in charge in the championship for Cisco Munoz. And that, of course, set Watford on their way eventually to a promotion to the Premier League. Now, remember, at the time that Cisco came in with that game, Watford were floundering. They're in sixth or seventh or eighth place. They're about 7 or 8 points or 9 points or whatever it was off of Norwich City, who I think at that time were flying at the top of the table. And Watford got a big win. It was Ismail Assar scoring the goal just before half time on Boxing Day at the Vic that gave Watford all 3 points. So Watford and Norwich always, particularly at the Vic, play games that really have a lot of implications in the table. And I just gave you two examples of that. Now we'll see about tomorrow's game because, again, Norwich could be top if they win this game tomorrow. And of course, Watford could very well be in the playoff places or very close to it. So that is exactly what we're going to see tomorrow. I think it'll be a close game. I think Watford will end up winning this game. I think that Watford now, this is the longest period of time that they've had between games with the new manager, Slaven Bilic. So I think Bilic has got a lot more of his ideas across to this team. Of course, the key is going to be defending and defending with discipline. We say it every week. You and I have played this tape over and over and over again. And you've seen me talk about the importance of defense, having a mentality in the game that says defense and that says discipline. And of course, having the mentality to start these games with yourself on the front foot. Watford must start this game on the front foot, and they've got to get out to an early lead. I think if Watford score in the first 10 minutes of this game, I think that they can neutralize Norwich City, who, as I said earlier, have much the same players that they did last season. Timo Pukki, Josh Sargent is in there. Both of them will be teaming up at the top of their lineup. What you'll have for Norwich is a 4-3, what I believe will be a 4-3-2-1, excuse me, a 4-3-1-2. So you will have a player servicing both of the two strikers up top. That's what the manager Dean Smith loves to do, having the two up front, up top. And I think and also Grant Hanley still on the team, Tim Krul still in goal for Norwich. You've still got players the likes of Max Aarons. He's still at Norwich City as well. So their lineup has not really changed that much. They really haven't. Buendia has obviously gone from Norwich, but aside from that, what Norwich have not made that many changes. They've got a few new players, but most of their lineup, half their lineup's the same lineup that Watford faced last season. So this is a fixture where both of these teams know each other very well. Watford's lineup hasn't changed appreciably since last season. They have obviously made some acquisitions, but not really. The nucleus of that squad is still very much the way it is, even though Cathcart has not been in a lot of games this season. Tom Cleverley is not in the game tomorrow. But Watford's lineup has been the same. I mean, basically Daniel Bachmann in goal. You know what you're getting from Daniel Bachmann, but what are you getting from your defense, and what are you getting from the rest of these players? They've had a week now to think about playing better football, and a week now to think about getting back to the form that got them over the line convincingly against Stoke. And now they have to put it all together in practice and now get on that pitch tomorrow under the lights, Saturday night under the lights, and get 3 points. Even if Watford don't play well, at this point for me, it's about the result, because Watford have to reset here and start playing football and get these results. Just dig for these results, dig deep. That's what you're going to have to do tomorrow, Watford, if you're going to get these 3 points. Dig deep and get the job done. Put in the tackle, get involved, get your home crowd fired up for this match, and make sure that you score first. And make sure that once you get 1-0 up, if you do score first, go up for 2-0. Don't sit on the 1-0 lead. Do what you did at Stoke. I mean, if you can bottle up what you did at Stoke, and carry that into the game tomorrow against Norwich at the Vic, wow, we could be in for a really good day. Norwich are not going to make this easy. Norwich are very dangerous. They're going to be feeling aggrieved after coming off a 3-2 home defeat against Preston last week. So they're going to be up for this game. And it's going to be a battle between two teams relegated from the Premier League last season. And they will be raring to go, I'm sure. Now, I don't know they'll be wearing tangerine colored, fluorescent orange colored shirts that they wore last season. Those were horrible. I like different colored kits, but my goodness me, Norwich City's tangerine, that or whatever that was, that bright orange on a dark night, not great. I hope that they wear better kits, but I also hope that Watford get 3 points. Something tells me that Watford are going to pull this one out, and I think they'll do it late. This has been the Orns Friday Focus.